For over 10 years, Pawn Stars charmed millions with its humor, rare treasures, and the bond of the Harrison family. But behind the scenes, a storm was brewing. Lawsuits, betrayals, and dark scandals now threatened to destroy the empire built on gold, silver, and trust. At the heart of it all is Rick Harrison, holding a confession that could change everything. Is this the downfall of a TV legend, or just another twist in their dramatic legacy? Rick Harrison's empire is now teetering on the edge. Once a modest pawn shop, now a global phenomenon tangled in fame, greed, and legal chaos. But how did it all begin? At the heart of this gold and silver dynasty stood Richard the Old Man Harrison, a no-nonsense patriot and business veteran who co-founded the Las Vegas shop and quickly became a fan favorite. His sharp instincts and tough demeanor made him the backbone of the operation. But when he passed away in 2018, everything changed, both emotionally and behind the counter. Rick, the visionary who turned their humble business into reality TV gold, always understood that pawning was never just about cash. It was about connection. Every item has a story, he believed. That's what people really buy. With that mindset, and just a basic knowledge of precious metals, he built the gold and silver pawn shop from scratch. In the early days, the profits barely trickled in. He often lent out more than he earned. But Rick persisted, sharpening his skills and forging a reputation as one of the most trusted names in the business. The true turning point for Rick Harrison's empire came in 2009 when Pawn Stars premiered on the History Channel. What started as a local Las Vegas pawn shop instantly became a pop culture sensation. Viewers were hooked as Rick, his father Richard the Old Man, his son Corey Big Hoss Harrison, and Corey's quirky friend Austin Chumley Russell haggled over everything from rare comic books to alleged artifacts from ancient Egypt. No 2 days were the same, and that unpredictability, paired with sharp banter between Rick and his father and Chumley's lovable goofiness, kept fans coming back for more. But while the cameras captured laughs and deals, behind the scenes, the Harrison family was unraveling. In a stunning twist, Rick Harrison found himself locked in a bitter legal battle with his own mother. According to USA Today, Joanne Harrison filed a lawsuit in Nevada State Court, accusing Rick of mishandling family assets and manipulating the ownership of the gold and silver pawn shop. The lawsuit claims that after Joanne was hospitalized in the early 2000s and awoke from a coma, Rick convinced her, while she was still recovering, to sign over her 51% ownership of the business. She later claimed she had no idea what she was agreeing to and that she was in no condition to make such a major decision. Then, after Richard Harrison's death in 2018, Joanne was supposed to inherit his remaining 49% share. However, Rick allegedly failed to provide transparent financial records, leaving her without access to over $500,000 in cash and silver her late husband had accumulated. What started as a hit reality show has now spiraled into a real-life courtroom drama. Fame made them stars, but will family betrayal be their final undoing? Rick Harrison's empire didn't just face public scrutiny, it faced a direct threat to his fortune. His mother's lawsuit didn't just ask for answers, it demanded a full financial accounting, damages, a court-ordered freeze on funds Rick controlled, and even a constructive trust over assets she claimed were rightfully hers. Speaking to the Las Vegas Review-Journal, Rick denied all allegations and insisted his 81-year-old mother was being manipulated by people with their own agendas. But that wasn't the only blow. According to the Daily Mail, the gold and silver pawn shop, usually pulling in over $1 million a year, barely scraped together $3,746 in 2020, a devastating drop caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. As if the financial hit weren't enough, Joanne took legal action a step further by filing a temporary restraining order against her own son. She alleged that Rick had stopped sending her the $225,000 annual payments she was receiving from her late husband's share of the business. The payments reportedly stopped in 2020, deepening the rift. Behind the smiling faces on television was a family crumbling under legal warfare, financial collapse, and personal betrayal. Was this just another bad year, or was the pawn shop legacy already beyond saving? Joanne Harrison's restraining order wasn't just a family squabble, it was a legal power move. She filed it in an effort to reinstate her financial allowance through the courts and to block Rick from transferring or hiding any assets that could shrink her stake in the gold and silver pawn shop. At 81 years old and reportedly needing around-the-clock medical care costing up to $115,000 a month, Joanne's legal action carried serious weight. What stunned Rick the most? He didn't hear about it from his own mother, but from news reports. He later claimed he made multiple attempts to reach out to her for months, hoping to resolve the situation privately. But with no response, any chance at compromise faded fast. The family wasn't just broken, they were at war. And as if that weren't enough, drama wasn't limited to Rick's side of the story. Austin Chumley Russell, beloved for his goofy charm, found himself in serious legal hot water. Back in 2012, TMZ reported he was caught on camera brawling in Hollywood, leaving a man bloodied on the sidewalk. Chumley claimed self-defense, saying the guy had threatened to pull a gun on him and his friends. According to him, instinct kicked in, and the man didn't even realize he was dealing with a TV star. That case eventually faded, but the real scandal was just around the corner. In 2016, the Chicago Tribune reported that Chumley was arrested and jailed on suspicion of 20 felonies. Suddenly, the lovable class clown of Pawn Stars was no laughing matter. Between family betrayals and criminal charges, the empire that once glittered with gold was beginning to crumble. Fast. Could this iconic brand survive the storm, or was this the final pawn in play? Chumley's world came crashing down in 2016 when a police raid on his Las Vegas home uncovered far more than anyone expected. The raid stemmed from a sexual assault investigation, and while Chumley wasn't ultimately charged with that crime, what police did find painted a damning picture. Officers reportedly discovered methamphetamine, marijuana, Xanax, traces of cocaine, and 12 firearms, 8 of which were unregistered. According to the Associated Press, he was slapped with 19 drug possession charges and 1 weapons charge. Although the sexual assault allegations were later dropped, the damage to Chumley's reputation was already done. And the legal trouble didn't end there. As reported by TMZ, the sheer volume of narcotics and illegal weapons found in his home forced Chumley into a corner. Facing serious prison time, he cut a deal, pleading guilty to 1 felony count of unlawful firearm possession and 1 gross misdemeanor for attempted drug possession. It was a dramatic fall from grace for the lovable jokester of Pawn Stars. But Chumley wasn't the only one facing heat. The entire cast seemed to be spiraling. Fame had made them stars, but behind closed doors, the pawn shop family was falling apart. Could anyone come out of this scandal clean? Or was the cost of stardom simply too high? Corey Harrison's wild nights and legal fights, the heir's downward spiral. Rick Harrison's son, Corey Big Hoss Harrison, was once groomed to take over the family business, but fame, alcohol, and recklessness nearly derailed that plan. Known for his big personality and even bigger ambitions, Corey found himself making headlines for all the wrong reasons. It started with a humiliating bar incident during a motorcycle tour stop in Jefferson City. After a reported week of heavy drinking, witnesses at Spectator's Bar said Corey urinated in public and threw a bar stool, getting himself kicked out in disgrace. The incident went viral, and although Corey issued a public apology, the damage was done. His image as the responsible heir to the pawn shop throne was already beginning to crack. But things didn't stop there. In 2021, Corey made headlines again, this time for a chaotic RV rental gone horribly wrong. According to TMZ, Corey rented an RV for a desert getaway in 2020, but allegedly failed to return it on time or in one piece. The RV's owner, William V., claimed that after a brief delay, the vehicle was finally returned days later, completely wrecked. Not only was the exterior badly damaged, but the interior was reportedly trashed, filled with empty bottles, broken parts, and even eggs scattered across the floor. The awning had been ripped off, and repairs were estimated to cost nearly $30,000. Making matters worse, the owner said he had to cancel 10 upcoming rentals due to the RV's condition, and alleged that Corey refused to pay for the damages, forcing him to file a police report. When TMZ reached out for a statement, Corey's rep dismissed the issue, claiming only that the RV's pop-outs got stuck and it was not drivable. From public meltdowns to property destruction, Corey's antics raised serious questions. Was he really ready to lead the Harrison legacy? Or was he just another reality star spiraling out of control? What do you think? Is this a young man under pressure, or just another celebrity gone off the rails? Corey's personal battles and the scandal that shook the show's core. Though Corey Harrison managed to dodge serious legal consequences, his public image took a major hit, and his biggest struggles weren't in court, but within himself. Behind the scenes, Corey was fighting a dangerous battle with his weight. By 2010, his health was at risk, and he made the bold decision to undergo gastric bypass surgery. The procedure helped him shed over 100 pounds, but the real challenge was far from over. The constant pressure of fame, the stress of helping run the family business, and the grind of maintaining a healthy lifestyle weighed heavily on him. Through it all, one thing remained steady: his bond with Chumlee. Inspired by Corey's transformation, Chumlee began his own weight loss journey, offering at least a glimmer of positivity amid the chaos. But just as Corey found personal progress, a new storm rolled in, one that threatened the very credibility of Pawn Stars. While Rick, Chumlee, and Corey were the show's frontmen, much of its authority came from the experts they brought in to appraise rare items. These specialists quickly became fan favorites, offering fascinating insights into everything from ancient coins to celebrity autographs. However, not all experts lived up to their reputations. Behind their polished on-screen personas, some were hiding serious red flags, sparking scandals that had fans asking, could the show's so-called experts really be trusted? And if they couldn't, what did that mean for the legacy of Pawn Stars? Pawn Stars experts, under fire when credibility cracks. Even the experts behind Pawn Stars, the very people who gave the show its sense of authority, weren't immune to scandal. Johnny Jimenez Jr., best known for his deep knowledge of vintage toys, found himself in serious legal trouble in 2015. According to TMZ, Johnny was caught on camera allegedly assaulting his girlfriend outside a Las Vegas restaurant. The footage sparked outrage and quickly tarnished his reputation. Johnny claimed he was only trying to help his intoxicated girlfriend after a wild night out, but the court of public opinion had already made up its mind. And Johnny wasn't the only expert to raise eyebrows. Autograph authenticator John Resnikoff, once praised for his detailed knowledge, made a major mistake in 2011 that cast doubt on the show's entire expert system. Resnikoff confidently declared that a signature on a Godfather script belonged to Al Pacino. But as it turned out, it was actually signed by the film's producer, Al Ruddy. While some fans saw the mistake as minor, others weren't so forgiving. If one signature could be misread, how many other items had been misidentified over the years? The error cracked the illusion of infallibility, forcing viewers to wonder, were these experts really as sharp as they seemed? Or had we all been buying into a well-packaged illusion? the scandal that shook the core and changed the show forever. While Pawn Stars had weathered its share of controversies, nothing rocked the show's credibility like the scandal surrounding expert Drew Max in 2015. Known for his expertise in sports memorabilia, Max was accused of authenticating fake items that were later sold at auctions in New Jersey. Buyers, feeling scammed, filed a lawsuit claiming Max had used his TV fame to inflate his authority, only to deceive them for profit. Unlike previous expert blunders, this wasn't a harmless mistake. It was fraud, and it cost people real money. The fallout was immediate. Fans began to question how many other items on the show had been misrepresented. If one of the show's most trusted experts could be involved in such deception, what did that say about the rest of the appraisals viewers had taken at face value? While some tried to excuse it as a rare slip-up, few came to Max's defense. The damage had been done, and the trust Pawn Stars built over the years was starting to crack. And that crack grew wider. As the scandals piled up, from expert fraud to family lawsuits to Chumley's criminal charges, the show itself began to shift. What once felt like a fresh mix of history and entertainment slowly morphed into something far more scripted and formulaic. The magic of unpredictability, where one moment you'd see a Civil War artifact and the next a vintage Star Wars toy, started fading. Reports emerged that guests and items were pre-selected, and appraisals were done off-camera in advance, removing the authentic anything-can-happen energy that made Pawn Stars so beloved. Even the cast chemistry began to feel forced. The sharp-witted negotiations and spontaneous family banter that once made the show feel real now came off as staged. Arguments felt rehearsed. Personalities flattened into TV tropes. Rick became the stern businessman, Corey the distracted heir, and Chumley the troubled comic relief. His real-life legal issues clashing with his goofy on-screen persona. Riding high on the success of Pawn Stars, Rick Harrison tried to turn TV fame into real-world fortune. He launched Pawn Plaza, a retail center just steps from the iconic pawn shop, hoping to turn tourists into paying customers at nearby restaurants and stores. But the dream quickly fizzled. The plaza failed to attract foot traffic, and one by one, businesses shut their doors. Frustrated tenants blamed Rick for not delivering on the hype, accusing him of providing little to no marketing support. Many had banked on Pawn Stars to bring in crowds, but the customers never came. Lawsuits followed, and a harsh reality set in. Television viewers don't always translate to real-life sales. But while business deals crumbled in the present, one scandal from the past resurfaced with a vengeance. In 2012, Pawn Stars welcomed Olivia Black, a bold and edgy employee who quickly became a fan favorite. Then, without warning, she was fired. Fans were outraged, demanding answers. Eventually, the truth emerged. Nude photos Olivia had taken before joining the show surfaced online, prompting producers to let her go. The decision sparked immediate backlash, with critics calling it sexist and hypocritical. Despite the controversy, Olivia didn't fade quietly. She stayed active in the pawn industry, pursued a career as a model and adult entertainer, and even filed a wrongful termination lawsuit, though the case was eventually dropped. Still, she retained a loyal fan base and proved she could thrive outside the shadows of Pawn Stars. Just when the storm seemed to settle, another scandal hit. In 2014, the shop was accused of melting down a stolen antique coin collection. According to a criminal complaint filed in Clark County Justice Court and reported by ABC News, a man named David Walters claimed his niece, Jennifer Beckman, had stolen a valuable coin stash from him in 2013, then sold it to Gold and Silver Pawn for just $375. But Walters argued the collection was actually worth closer to $50,000. By the time he reported the theft, the coins were already gone. A spokesperson for the shop told Fox News that the coins may have been sold, melted down, or sitting in buckets with other unprocessed coins, making recovery nearly impossible. They also challenged the $50,000 valuation and firmly denied any wrongdoing by the shop or its cast members, saying they had no way of knowing the coins were stolen. From failed business ventures and explosive firings to high-stakes lawsuits and missing treasure, the Pawn Stars empire has seen its shine dim under the weight of scandal. The question remains, how many more hits can this reality TV dynasty take before it finally folds? Would you still trust them with your treasures or your viewership? Pawn Stars, fame, fallout, and a legacy that won't be forgotten. Despite the endless scandals, lawsuits, and personal meltdowns, Pawn Stars defied the odds, staying on air for more than a decade. Even as the show slowly shifted from spontaneous appraisals and historical deep dives to staged family drama and scripted banter, it managed to hold on to a loyal fan base. But by the time season 21 rolled around, the magic was fading fast. Viewership dropped, and the spark that once made the show must-watch TV had all but disappeared. As legal battles mounted and family tensions spilled into the headlines, Pawn Stars began to lose the authenticity that once set it apart. Rick Harrison, ever the shrewd businessman, started to turn his attention elsewhere, diving into real estate and other ventures. Pawn Plaza may have flopped, but Rick kept the original gold and silver pawn shop alive and well as a Las Vegas landmark. No official word has been given about the show's cancellation. But let's face it, Pawn Stars today is a shadow of what it once was. Its stars have faced everything from public scandals to personal breakdowns, and the once dominant presence on the History Channel has dimmed significantly. Yet even if the series doesn't return, its mark on reality TV is undeniable. What began as a modest family-run pawn shop exploded into a global franchise that taught millions about antiques, negotiation, and history through the lens of everyday Americans making extraordinary deals. It made pawning cool, turned quirky cast members into household names, and proved that every object has a story worth telling. But with fame came a price. The show's downfall is a textbook case in the dangers of celebrity, the cracks that appear under constant public scrutiny, and how fast reputations can crumble in the spotlight. From expert scandals to family lawsuits, the image of Pawn Stars took hit after hit, each one chipping away at its once bulletproof brand. Still, the legacy remains. Love it or loathe it, Pawn Stars changed the game. It brought history into people's living rooms, transformed a dusty Vegas shop into a cultural icon, and reminded viewers that behind every deal, there's a story, and sometimes a storm. So what do you think? Is Pawn Stars a cautionary tale of fame gone wrong, or a legendary chapter in reality TV history that will never be forgotten?